Today, friends, we're going to be making our own flower gardens inspired by some of the most famous artwork ever, which incorporates florals in their work. For example, this Van Gogh sunflower painting, which was known for its vibrant colors and thick brush strokes. Or the Georgia O'Keeffe paintings that were known for their close-ups, which was very unusual at that time. Georgia O'Keeffe took her time adding many values and different compositions. Or Melissa Robertson, a contemporary artist that uses different shapes that might be a little abstract from what you normally see when looking at floral.
Alright friends, so today what we're going to be doing is making a garden, but one of the biggest things in this project that we're going to have a lot of fun with is we're going to be making monoprints. And what a monoprint is, it's when you're doing a drawing or painting on an object or piece of paper even, and you're able to print that onto another piece of paper. And mono means one. So with a monoprint, unlike other prints, you can only do one of them. There's a lot of things in your house you can use to make monoprints. You could use, if you have paint, you could use the back of a cookie tin. I'm using washable markers today, so for my supplies, I'm going to be using foil. If you do not have foil, you can even use a plastic baggie. It has a different look to it. This is an example I did with the foil. You can see it has a very watercolor look to it. And then this is the one that I did with the baggie. It doesn't blend the same, okay? I personally like the foil more, but if you have to use a baggie, use it. And if you have other things at home you think might work, experiment. Artists have to hypothesize and experiment all the time. So one of the important things is that you have like a thicker piece of drawing paper or even watercolor paper, because if you have a really light piece of paper, your paper is going to probably get a hole in it or get too wet. So just be careful with the choice of paper you use. What I do is I get my paper and then I get my foil ready. Cut a piece. And I like to just outline what I need, okay? I go around this piece of paper. I leave about a half an inch away. And I just kind of trace half an inch away to leave myself a little room in case I have a rip. And then I take a pair of scissors and I cut that shape out. So that's going to tell me exactly what size I'm going to need for this. So using a pair of scissors, I'm going to cut this out, trying not to bend the foil. Alright, so I have that now. I'm going to set it aside because I don't need it right yet. Now I'm going to think about what I want to draw on my piece of paper that I'm going to print on top of. You want to use things that are not washable for this part because we're going to be putting water on later. So I'm going to be using a Sharpie. Sharpie or crayon, something that has a resistor and the water will not blend with. I'm just going to make a little garden because it's getting close to spring and I am so ready for some nicer weather. So you're going to make flowers. You can make some realistic flowers. You can make some abstract flowers. You can really draw whatever you want on here. So I'm just going to go in. I really have a lot of fun making up flowers, making some abstract. I just start by using shapes. I put my petals in.
Drawing your flowers, you can draw any shapes you want. You can do both organic and geometric. Think about making them different sizes to help fill the space up. Do some tall flowers, some short flowers, some wide and skinny flowers. That's going to give your work some variety and make it more interesting. You don't have to do the same shapes as me as well, but if you would like to, that is completely up to you.
Alright, so now that I have some flowers made up, I just started with simple shapes and lines. I'm going to go in and push hard with crayon where I want there to be some color. So this is a lot like if we're doing a watercolor on top of crayon, except instead we're doing a print. So I'm going to go in and notice, nice opaque, pressing hard. All right, I have those all colored in. Now's the time to do the background, which will be your print that you are going to make. I'm going to set this aside. I'm going to get my foil. With your markers, you have to make sure they're washable markers, otherwise this will not work. You're also going to need a sponge and water for the next step. I'm going to use this washable marker. I would think about, staying within the 3 range. I wouldn't do more than 3 colors because you can maybe overdo it. But I'm going to leave that up to you. You decide whatever colors you want. I wouldn't use any really dark colors like blacks because the black, is going to be a little too much on top of the black outline we did. So this is another reason why you really want to be paying attention. You don't want to rip it. So push really lightly. All right, so now that I have all my foil colored, you really have to, the trick is, friends, push light, slow down. If you go too fast, you're gonna rip it, which I did a few times. Now you're gonna set this to the side carefully, get a sponge, and you just want that sponge to be damp wet. Okay, we're gonna just dampen this paper. So I'm gonna go on top of my drawing and drag that sponge across. I don't want to get it too wet because the paper will wrinkle, but we also want it wet enough so that this transfers. So now we're going to take this, and there's probably going to be spots if you did not get with the sponge that will not transfer, so we want to go over a few times. You're now going to take this and carefully, without moving it, press it down. Careful where you had your rips. You're just going to very gently rub your hand across a few times, holding with one hand as you're doing that, so that you do not have any issues with the foil moving on you. And notice I'm going really slow and I'm just gently rubbing. Now what you're going to do is you're going to gently pull off, and you're going to see you now get that print. You probably, if you're really careful, not like Miss Plummer, you could probably keep reusing this and make more prints with the foil. So what's going to happen is now all that color is transferred onto here. And now what you're going to get is that beautiful watercolor effect without needing any watercolors at home. So it's pretty cool. So like I said, that comes off really easy. I could keep reusing this if I was really careful the first time. If you don't have that, you can use a plastic bag. It does kind of the similar, but you're going to see your lines a little bit more.